What is up, guys, and welcome back to the channel, guys. We are back here with Walter's World, and this time we got something new, something different with visiting America. Maybe some, I know most of my subscribers come from Europe. Maybe you want to visit America. Maybe Walter's World can give us some info. So we got the don'ts of visiting the USA, which is going to be interesting to me because I'm going to see what are some don'ts, because I haven't even been around this whole country either myself. Only been to a few places. Like I said, live in Texas, been to New York, been to Florida. Where else I've been? I think Virginia, Washington, Hawaii. But the last three, I was younger because my dad was in the military, so that's why I don't remember those too much. But oh yeah, Oklahoma, been to Oklahoma. Man, that's pretty much it. I haven't been too many places around here, so we finna check this out. Y'all hit that subscribe button, send down those recommendations, and let's see the don'ts.
Hey there, fellow travelers. Mark here with Walter's World, and today we're in Mystic, Connecticut, in a beautiful place here in the U.S. And today what we have for you are the don'ts of visiting the U.S. because anywhere you go in the world, there's things you should do, but there's also things you shouldn't do. And this video is going to just cover the U.S. in general, okay? And our first don't for when you visit the U.S. is don't touch the Americans. Look, Americans really like their personal space. It's like they have a bubble around them, and if you get too close to them, they feel very, 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 very uncomfortable.
Okay, I can definitely agree with this first one already. I like, you definitely can't have people in your bubble. You definitely can't.
Too close to them,
I can agree.
They feel very, 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 very uncomfortable, okay? So make sure you give them a little distance when you are there, because I know when I go to Italy and Spain and stuff, people are like, Mark, how's it going, all this stuff? And my American friends sometimes go, wow, they're really, really affectionate. Like, that's just how it is. Okay. Here, space is key. The second don't I have for you is don't count on public transportation.
Facts.
Look, when we were in China and we were throughout Europe and South America, we took buses and trains and planes and all kinds of stuff to get all over the place because public transport is really developed.
You have to rent a car down
here in the U.S., you cannot count on public transport to get you a lot of places. Yes, in big cities like New York and Chicago and stuff like that, you can get around with public transport and it will take you where you want to go. But a lot of towns, small towns especially, and middle-sized cities, the public transportation networks are not very good, and at night sometimes it's not very safe. So
you're definitely gonna have to either rent a car, or like I said, there's Uber, Lyft, and all those things. That's how you're gonna be able to get around.
That is kind of a frustrating thing. So yes, you're gonna probably have to rent a car when you come here. Okay, so just have a heads up for that. And that kind of leads into the next don't I have for you is don't underestimate the size of the U.S. The United States, it's continental U.S. is like continental Europe. It's huge. I mean, would you think of driving from, I'm going to go from Lisbon to Paris and then go up to Tallinn and then head down to Sofia? No, you're like, that is insanely far. It's the same thing when you come to the U.S.
These distances. Oh my, okay, yeah, definitely Chicago to Los Angeles. That's pretty far. That is pretty far, you would think. Miami to, that's even further. That's way further. I'm just thinking about the map. I know, of course, the numbers are larger, but I'm like, dude, that's a ridiculous drive right there. New York to Orlando, that's not too bad, actually. That's probably like 13, 14 hours. But those other two, those are probably like 2 or 3 days worth of driving right there.
I meet a lot of travelers that are like, I'm going to fly into New York, grab a car, drive down to Miami to see Miami Beach, and then head over to LA. I'm like, dude, you got 2 weeks? You're going to spend the entire time in cars. Yeah. The distances here are insane. So what I recommend is picking a region. So, we're going to stay here in New England and see New England. Or we're going to go in the Southeast, go to Atlanta and Savannah and Charleston, things like that. Or visit the West Coast. You do that to get a better idea of the culture there and things like that. But also, it's just the logistics things because it's so far between the places. Far. And to go along with that, for Americans, a 3 to 4 hour drive, that's a day trip. Like my parents live 3 hours away. I will literally get up, go drive, have lunch with my mom, and then drive back home just for lunch. 6 hours in the car. No big deal. It's about 7 hours when we start to think, that kind of is a long drive. And we drive.
2 to 3 hours is pretty long. I mean, we went to my wife's where she's originally from. She's lived like her birthplace is like 3 hours away. When we go visit, mind you, like if they have stuff, they having stuff that's gonna last to almost 12 p.m. to 2 a.m. So we're definitely staying the night. There's nothing you can drive back on. 3-4 hour drive, gotta stay the night. Gotta, at least for me.
Entire way
for
through.
me.
Okay, this isn't like, oh, I must stop every 2 hours and have a 15-minute break. Oh, no. No. We drive all the way through, okay? Now, my next don't for you when you come here is don't think that the sticker price is the end price. Look, in the U.S., we have sales tax. I know other countries, they have VAT, value-added taxes. They're already put into the price of products. So when you see, oh, it's $1 or €1,
10 cents.
I only pay €1.
10 more cents for
in
that.
the U.S., it is not like that. We have sales tax. So a certain percentage is added onto that product. And the thing is, I cannot tell you what the sales tax will be where you're going to travel because it's different everywhere. Cities, states, counties, different products have different sales taxes, and some products don't have sales taxes. Some cities don't have sales taxes. Some have 10% sales tax.
Wow.
It can be different anywhere you go. So if you're gonna go get your dollar menu item at a McDonald's or a Culver's or a wherever, it's not gonna be a buck. Where I live, there's 2 cities right by where I live. One, it's gonna be $1.08. The other one, it's gonna be $1.09.
Facts.
So be ready for that. And it's not just the sales tax. Also, there could be the tipping on top. And that leads us into the 5th don't, and that is don't forget to
Facts.
tip. Look, in the U.S., you tip 15 to 20% at a sit-down restaurant, okay? Now, McDonald's, stuff like that,
Hey,
no, you
Grubbin,
don't
what
tip
are
at a
you at,
fast
Red
food
Lobster?
place. But if it's a sit-down restaurant where they bring you your food and stuff like that, you will tip them 15 to 20%. If you are in a group of 6 people or more, sometimes they automatically put the gratuity on there, which
See, I
sometimes
thought it was 8 people or more. They now it's 6. They must have went up with it over the year. Cause I think this was in 2017, so they must have went up being a little more generous with it. I mean,
6 people or more, sometimes they automatically put the gratuity on there, which sometimes can be 18% or something like that. Look, when you come to the U.S., there's a reason why the food is like so affordable. You're like, wow, it's cheap to go out and eat in the U.S. It's because there's kind of
That's
this
a fact.
understanding that the service
That's
fees
a
and
fact.
paying for the workers and the waitresses and stuff like that, that goes on to you, the person eating there, with the tips. So the food and stuff can be cheaper when you go out to eat. And I know a lot of people say,
Look at
I don't
that.
believe in tipping and this tipping isn't the right thing. They should pay their people more. Well, if you want to pay more for your food, they can do that. But they don't, okay? So tipping is something we do here in the U.S., so do tip that 15 to 20%. Oh, also, if you're at a bar and you're buying drinks, you're going to want to tip a couple dollars here and there. Otherwise, the bartender might not be too quick to come back and get you your next drink. So following off of those tips, what you need to realize is our next don't is don't be freaked out by the over-the-top service and free stuff you sometimes get in the U.S. Look, because of tipping and
I'm
commissions...
telling you, like I know when we talk about the refills and stuff, man. I know if you really like soda, if you're visiting the U.S., you really like soda. Like you're gonna be amazed. You're gonna, of course, I ain't gonna lie. I feel like we can be a little greedy. But even they look like they at a Mexican restaurant right now. Free chips and salsa. Like I usually don't, like my wife's Hispanic, but sometimes I don't like going to the Mexican restaurant. But then again, when I'm super hungry, I'm like, let's go because I need that free chips and salsa. You ain't gotta pay for that appetizer at a Mexican restaurant. Other restaurants, you're gonna have to pay like $4, $5, $6, $7. I think everything up now. It might be like $7 to $8, maybe $10 for some chips and salsa. Well, you can just go to a Mexican restaurant and get it for free. They're just gonna keep giving you the chips, as long as they see them finish, of course.
stuff you sometimes get in the U.S. Look, because of tipping and commissions and stuff like that, yes, there is a lot of over-the-top service here. But the thing is, in the U.S., the people actually are pretty nice, and they want to help people. And sometimes for some travelers, if they come from countries where people don't get a lot of service sometimes, it can be a bit much, so don't freak out about it. Also with that is don't be freaked out with some of the free stuff you get when you go to restaurants. Look, if you go to a restaurant and they bring you bread and water, chips and salsa and all those really good things, that's included in your meal. Okay, so if you're going to be buying something, they're going to give you some free stuff. It might be some bread, it might be a salad, it might be a water, it might be something like that. So don't be like shocked when like, wait, I didn't order this bread, I didn't order this salad. Oh no, that comes with your meal. Okay. Now the thing is though, you can't just go in and get chips and salsa and walk out. Right. You actually have to order some food when you go there. Now my next don't for you is don't smoke.
Or a drink. Maybe you're not hungry. Maybe you want the chips and salsa with a soda. You know what I'm saying? As long as you're paying for something, that's it.
You actually have to order some food when you go there. Now my next don't for you is don't smoke cigarettes in the U.S. If you're smoking cigarettes in the U.S., people will look at you like you're trying to kill their baby. Cigarettes is like totally
I
verboten.
still see
like,
people smoke
really
all the
frown upon
time.
it, which is funny because when they talk about marijuana and stuff like that, people don't seem to care as much. But cigarettes, oh, you're trying to kill my baby with that cigarette 2 blocks away. So if you do smoke, make sure you try to find a place where you can smoke, because a lot of restaurants, or pretty much all restaurants, hotels, stuff like that, have smoke-free. It's smoke-free, so you have to go like 15 to 20 feet away from doing things, so that can be something. So I've come here outside my favorite liquor store to give you the next don't, and that is don't try to buy alcohol unless you're 21, or cigarettes unless you're 18 or over in the U.S. They will not sell them to you. And the thing is, don't forget your ID.
They won't sell those, but you can get a rifle or something.
In the U.S. They will not sell them to you. And the thing is, don't forget your ID, because if you look like you're 40 or under, they may ask you for that. And don't get mad at them, because if they don't ask, they could get in trouble and get fined. So don't be surprised, because we've had friends that have come here, try to buy alcohol, and they're like, sorry, you don't look old enough. Oh, I don't have my ID. Too bad. And the thing is, it's not just the person buying. They might ask anybody with you, so make sure everybody has their ID if they want to buy liquor, or they want to buy alcohol, or if they want to buy cigarettes. So just FYI on that one. Oh, that's also another don't I have for you is don't bother with a metric system when you come here. We don't use we don't use meters, we don't use kilometers, we don't use liters. It is inches, feet, miles, gallons, pounds, things like that. And I'll put a conversion chart here to show you, but honestly, you may say, hey, how far is it to this next town? And they'll tell you, oh, it's like 60 miles. You're like, what's that? Just know 60 miles, it's about 100 kilometers, okay? So just do that, because the people here won't get it. I mean, I have people, when I'll tell them, oh, it's 100 meters away, they're like, 100 meters? It's like 100 yards. Oh, okay. So make sure you do know your imperial system, okay?
I had to learn that in some other videos.
We don't do that so much here. So our next don't is when you do come to the U.S., there's a couple things you don't talk about, okay? One is gun control, and 2 is politics, because no matter where you are, you will get people on either side of the spectrum, and they will have an argument with you.
It's a big argument, man. That's why I try to stay away from somewhat, like I do, like seeing videos, I kind of express my opinion, but I cannot go out and have a conversation with somebody right now, because it just, first of all, it ain't even the point of having an argument. It's the point that they might be talking to me for like 2 to 3 hours. That's the thing, and trying to convince me type thing. That's what I would have a problem with. Hey, we need, this is small talk, man. And that's why I can't get in certain conversations, because it can go for hours. It can go for hours for sure. You will get people on either side of the spectrum, and they will have an argument with you. So it's best just to lay off those topics. Talk about the weather. Oh, wouldn't it be nicer if it was sunny today? Lord, give it to government, take it
yes,
away.
That would be much better than discussing gun control or politics. Just putting that one out there for you right now. Now, my next don't for you is don't assume that all the U.S. and all the Americans are the same. Because I know a lot of people say, oh, you're a typical American. Well, it's like saying you're a typical European. Look, the U.S. has all kinds of different cultures, all kinds of different people, all kinds of different topography and scenery and stuff like that. And when you come here, don't assume it's all the same. You will see regional differences in cuisines and how people treat each other, and how everything looks, all kinds of stuff. So don't just think there's just one kind of American. They're all fat, sloppy guys with ponytails. No, there's actually a lot of skinny people in America too, not just fat guys like me.
Oh my gosh.
There are those. So don't.
This guy is funny. This is funny.
Me and my buddy Jeff.
It shows a picture of Jeff.
There are those. So don't assume it's all the same, all right? So do go out and explore. And that's why I always say is if you're going to come to the U.S., go and explore different regions, because you'll get a really different feel. Because going to the southeast and seeing the plantation homes and going to see the southern towns down there versus going to the northwest and Seattle and Portland, or
go to
San
have
Francisco,
fun.
or going to the Midwest with Chicago and Milwaukee, you're going to have a very different feel, which is really a cool thing to do. And you start to understand is, wow, the U.S. does have a lot of different cultures within it, and a lot of different feelings when you go around here. And following on with that, I guess I would say another don't is don't assume there's no culture in the U.S. because there are a lot of cultural centers out there. If you go down to New Orleans, you see a very rich culture there. You go to New York or Boston. Here in New England, you have a very distinct culture. In the Midwest with Chicago, Milwaukee, you go to the West Coast. I mean, there's a lot of different culture here. Historic culture with the Native Americans, or more recent culture here. I mean, you have all that here. You can really take in. And saying there's no culture in the U.S., it's not really true because there are all these different cultural centers with great museums like the Art Institute of Chicago or the Met in New York, the Getty in LA. There's all kinds of stuff you can see and do when you are here. For a cultural trip, it's not just seeing beautiful landscapes and seascapes like we are here in Connecticut. There's a lot more to it than that. Now, my next don't for you is one that I kind of get a lot of questions about. We actually have a video on this, and then that is, don't think that how are you or how's it going is actually a question. Look, when we say how's it going, how are you, these kind of things in the U.S., it's not a question, it's a statement. It's like saying hi. Okay, just take it as a hi. Because a lot of people say this, everyone asks me how I'm doing. When I try to tell them how I'm feeling, they're like, well, I was just saying, how are you? Here, how are you is just hi. Think of it that way. It's like in France.
I ain't gonna lie, I had to learn that when I became an adult because I started saying, hey, how are you? And people just hi, or if somebody say hi, I'll be like, hey, how are you? And they just still go about their business. I had to learn that the hard way as an adult because I started thinking like, dang, like you ain't gonna ask me how I am, nothing. But I had to realize like, oh, that's just how I was late to that party too, guys. I was late to that, and knowing that as well.
How's it going? How's it going? We're good to go. In Portuguese, tudo bem, everything good. You answer back, tudo bem, everything good. It's just, how are you? How are you? You move on, okay? So don't think it's an actual question, all right? Now, another don't I have for you is don't expect a lot at the fancy hotels. You know, you're thinking, oh, I'm going to pay more money for this hotel. I'm probably going to get nicer stuff, like a nicer breakfast, better Wi-Fi. Oh, no, 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 no. For some reason in the U.S., it seems like the nicer the hotel, the more you have to pay for the things you think would be free, like Wi-Fi and breakfast. So don't feel like you have to stay at the fancy hotels, because honestly, if you're going to be going out and exploring...
There is nice hotels that, you know, that are affordable. You can get a nice free breakfast, you know, and I ain't talking about just cereal and an orange. Hey, waffles, there's some, they have bacon, potatoes, all that. At affordable, and they don't even look like this or close to that at all.
I feel like you have to stay at the fancy hotels because honestly, if you're going to be going out and exploring, you just need a couple beds, right? So stay at the hotels in the U.S. and the cheaper ones will give you free Wi-Fi, free breakfast, all these kind of things, which is really nice. So don't expect that from the fancy hotels. Another don't I have for you is don't skip out on the local food. Look, we're here in New England. We're here in Connecticut.
What
we're
is
having
that?
Lobster and clams and oh my God, New England clam chowder. Oh, my tummy is just like more. It's fantastic. When I'm in the South, man, Southern fried chicken, mac and cheese, barbecue. Ooh. Oh my God, the food in the different regions in the U.S. are great. So don't just go to chain restaurants. When you go to your hotel, ask them, hey, what's some local restaurants around here? What's some locally owned and operated restaurants? So you can go there and check out those places because they really give you a great experience.
He got me hungry right now. He finna make me go down the street and get some barbecue real quick. A nice barbecue sandwich.
Operated restaurants, so you can go there and check out those places because they really give you a great experience. And I find a lot of times those ones actually have better service than the chain restaurants because it's a mom and pop place where the owners are the ones helping you out, and that is really kind of a cool thing. Now, my next don't for you is don't get sick. Look, healthcare in the U.S. is insanely expensive, and just because you come from another country doesn't mean they're not.
Say don't get sick from the food, but he's speaking like you can't get sick or hurt at all.
Healthcare in the U.S. is insanely expensive, and just because you come from another country doesn't mean they're not going to find you for the bill. All right, so if you're going to be coming here, make sure you get travel insurance or trip insurance, so in case you do get sick or you do break an ankle or you do break an arm or something happens to you, your insurance will cover it. Now you might have to pay it first, and your insurance pays you back, but at least you'll get something back because healthcare here in the U.S. is insanely expensive, okay? So make sure you're prepared for that. And I guess my last don't I'm going to have for you is one that people actually got mad at me for when I lived in other countries when I told them the U.S. has 50 states. And they said, no, the U.S. has 52 states.
52?
Look, don't think the U.S. has 52 states. The U.S. has 50 states, okay? Just a heads up on that one. I'm sure that people are going to...
What were the other two states then that people think that the U.S. have?
Comment down below that when I was in school, they told me 52. No, there's 48 on the mainland, and then Alaska and Hawaii are 49 and 50, all right? So those are our don'ts for visiting the U.S. What are some of the don'ts you have for the U.S.? Because I know there's more out there. I just want to get some of these out there to help out travelers heading to the U.S. just so we can get things going. Anyway, if you like videos like this, we have stuff on what the don'ts of going to Russia, the don'ts of going to Germany, the don'ts of going to Brazil and things like that. And we really like helping travelers with honest travel advice. So if you like this video, do click that subscribe button. It means a lot to us, and we put new travel videos out
Man,
every
I definitely gonna have to check out a lot. Like even like outside of reactions, I'm gonna just have to check out Walter's World in general when I get ready to go to Europe. Cause like this is good advice. Like the cheapest plane ticket is not the cheapest way to travel. The 10 culture shocks, I think that would be a good reaction video actually. But I just need to hit this guy up and get some more information, check out his website and stuff, because I feel like that's gonna help me out a lot. Gives good information. I can definitely agree on all of those don'ts when you visit America. To add on there, it's kind of tough. Cause I mean, like I live in Texas, and when I go to other places, I don't worry about too much. Like I said, I only been to Florida, New York, Oklahoma and stuff, but I wasn't like there like long periods of time. I think the most I was there, those places was like a week maybe. But in Texas, I can definitely say, when you go to these major cities, small towns, okay, like you said, you're gonna need a car. You're gonna need a car for everything, or you might be, if you're in a city, you might be able to Uber and all that stuff. But please be aware of the traffic. If you visit in Dallas, even Austin, Houston, be ready for traffic. Oh my God, it's crazy. Be ready. The map, if you're using Google Maps or something to get to your destination, hey, make sure you look at the Google Map and look at the signs in the road, because I don't know how many times, like I was going to Dallas often, but when I start getting like deeper, like Dallas, Fort Worth area and stuff, like the roads are so different, because sometimes you can exit off to the left and sometimes you exit off to the right. So be aware of that traffic and stuff if you ever come to Texas. Texas is different when it comes to traffic, especially like I said in those major cities. But you're definitely gonna need a car, because if not, I wouldn't rush to get, because Dallas is big, Houston is big, Austin, San Antonio, all these places, they're pretty big. So don't look to get to your destination quick, because that traffic can be ridiculous sometimes. But that's my don't, that's my don't of Texas right there, So, but that's all I have for this video, guys. Y'all make sure y'all hit that subscribe button, send down those recommendations, and y'all be blessed, be the best, and be you. I'm out.